Welcome to another episode on our channel. We're going to try to make another female Viking. This is one we made not too long ago. I really like her a lot. We'll try to replicate it as much as possible, but there are some things we won't be able to do perfectly the same. Sometimes pieces are in short supply, and you have to go with what you have. So we're going to try our best to replicate this one. Spoiler alert, I will show you this one in the next episode. Real quick, out. There we go. So we'll pause, we'll get set up, and I will organize my thoughts on how to present this in a way that makes sense. One thing you have to do is kind of figure out in your head what you want the figure to look like. And then it's a matter of trying to track down the pieces of attire, the accessories that are going to make that picture in your head come to real life. Sometimes that's impossible and you have to make accommodations along the way, unless you can sew things, which I can't do. The other thing you have to think about is body. You know, what kind of body do you want to use? They're making more and more now bodies that are half silicone. So this one has silicone in the neck and the breasts and the midriff and in the buttocks, but the joints are very visible. So you look here and you can see joints in the arms, right? And in the knees, they're very visible. So if you do not want that look, then you're pretty much going to have to think about getting a Viking body. And these bodies are also broader in the shoulders. Oftentimes they show muscles in the midriff, but they're completely seamless with metal frames. So you're not going to see any joints in the elbows, in the shoulders, in the knees. I mean, it's a great body, especially if you're going to show these areas with your final product. Now, with our final product, we're basically going to be just seeing the elbows, but still, yeah, this is not the greatest look on the face of the planet. So Viking is a good choice. Regardless, you're going to see bodies that come with necks, because in the female 1/6 scale world, the heads are not coming with necks, more so than the male heads. Sometimes it's hard to find a particular male head that doesn't already come with a neck. So then you're limited to a certain type of body, one that is neckless, except for an attachment over which a head with a neck can go. So in one respect, female characters are easier to build with head sculpts because the majority of head sculpts out there do not have the necks, and they will fit fine on a Viking body or a body like this. So let's look at some of the accessories that I have decided to use to try to create this Viking Knight. A couple sources that I tend to go to when I'm trying to think Viking is Saintess Knight. So this is a black skirt from Saintess Knight made by TB League. Here's the sword and sheath that goes with that, the belt. And I do have some shoulder armor that goes with Saintess Knight. The other source I like going to other than Saintess Knight, I should show you a few more things from Saintess Knight. I'm not going to use them, but you can get pants and a brown shirt. I happen to have a black shirt, but a brown shirt like this, you can get black with black pants. They have different types of attire. So that's one source that I tend to use if I'm thinking Viking female knight. Another source I'm thinking of, which I prefer even more in terms of the shape of the armor, is also from TB League, but it's Spartan Army Commander. So this would be the chest armor. Here's the armor to the forearms. Okay. It only comes with one shoulder armor, but you can always find another piece lying around somewhere, either through the internet or eBay, a distributor who sells 1/6 scale loose pieces through the internet or eBay. Here's the shield that goes to it, and the leg armor. Now, I don't like the pointed armor on the feet, so I'm going to use something else, more like a boot or shoe. But it does come with pointed armor that you could use. I think this sword belongs to Spartan Army Commander as well, but it is flexible. It's not made out of steel. That's not a make or break thing, by the way, but it is nice when it is steel. And I have a couple of hands that I was able to buy through an internet supplier that was from the Spartan Army Commander figure. If you buy the whole figure, I dare say you're looking at $300 or more. So pieces are the way to go, from my perspective anyway. So I was able to find some armor. Now this is shinier than what I would like, but the armor I found for my first Viking, let's get her back in here, it was a one-piece armor. Glad I caught her. All right, so it was a one-piece armor, and it really looks cool. It's more subdued in terms of color. This is brighter. This is actually a male piece of armor, probably from the Holy Grail set, a Sideshow set, but it will fit on this figure. Well, let's pause. Let me get it on the figure, tell you what my dilemma is, and a way to kind of get around it. Because she has armor. It's a one-piece armor, so her armor goes all the way up here and does hide her shoulders. So I thought that was kind of nice. But I can't find another one-piecer. So the best I could do was this male 1/6 scale. What did I say it was from? Holy Grail. Holy Grail armor. So we'll pause, and I will get this on the TB League Fison body for you to see so that you know it fits. We'll pause now. So I'm getting this on. This is going to be a journey. It's going to be a struggle. You kind of have to wiggle it on here and there, and then go to the area on her hips to wiggle it on even further. And you're just going to have to do it in bits and pieces until it is on as much as you can get it on. I can feel the peg now right here. So I know I got that as far up as I possibly can go. I still need to go a little more here, even more still. And then pull this up as I go along. like I said, it's a journey, it's a challenge getting some things on, especially silicone bodies. All right, so I'm finally at a point where I think I'm almost close. All right, and her neck is really turned over. All right, so let's straighten her up a little bit. Okay, the feet aren't all the way up, but I wanted you to see it does fit. And it is shinier than this one. See, you can tell, very different. But I can live with that, or I can try to subdue it with some brush on black paint, that sort of thing. But I can certainly live with it. The problem is going to be, and I'll show you, this is not threaded on one side. It is definitely threaded on the other side, thank God, so I'll only have to thread one side. So this will be easy to get on, relatively speaking. Get her arm in there. Get this over here, turn her neck a little bit so it goes through the opening, if you can get it in there. And just keep fidgeting with it until you pretty much get it on. Put the arm down, move the neck over. All right. So it's pretty much on, except on this side, I'm going to have to do something to get the string through. That's not going to be easy either. But when you put the shoulder guards on, let's say you use the original one, you're going to have some of the arm showing. For you, that might not be a problem, but on my figure, I do not have the shoulders showing. So my thought here is I have to cut the feet off anyway. Otherwise, the shoes are not going to go on to the pegs. So the question is, how far up on the leg can I cut? And then take that piece and put it over the shoulder and tuck it in so that now it looks like a one piece. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. But if I want it more uniform, that's what I'm going to have to do. So I need to see how far this leg goes up. Okay. So it goes up quite a bit. It looks like I'm going to have some distance to cover that piece of the shoulder. I just have to make the cut in the right place, make sure I don't cut it too short so it doesn't fit into the leg armor. Again, I hope that makes sense. So I will pause now, do my best to cut this in the right place so I have enough to put on the shoulder, but I salvage enough to where the armor fits over the chainmail and there's not a gap there. All right, so we'll be right back. So my husband was a little bit worried that I wouldn't have enough room to make a cut that would work, but he didn't remember I had a skirt I'm putting on her. So I really do have a lot of leeway here. And if I mess up with these pants, I already have an extra backup pair of pants. So I'm good to go. So what I'm going to do is kind of just go down just a little lower than what this is at, and then mark it, and then cut it. So we'll be right back. So I've cut the pieces. Hopefully they will fit over the shoulders. And I have enough room, more than enough room actually, for the leg armor. There's no gap that you can see in there. I've got plenty of room in there for both of them. So I'm good to go, really. Now, the trick is, how do I get it over the shoulders, and we'll figure that out in a bit. We are back, and what I did is, here's the foot uncut. Well, not uncut, but I'm showing you where I made the cuts. Along the seams, I took this part off first, and then I took off this piece. I'm left with this, and I have the first one in. It's better to put this on first because it's hard to get it up on the arm because of the silicone. This will split apart. You can wrap it around the arm and then just scoot it into the armor and into the shoulder guard. So into the armor it scoots in, and into the shoulder guard it scoots in. And now we've got matching, matching armor. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'll split it apart. I'll get the armor on. And it is definitely a challenge because this is silicone. You have to kind of wiggle it up, and when you get about here, it gets even harder. Straighten the arm out, put it in. Then I will wrap the material after I take out the seam, wrap the material around the shoulder, push part of it with a flathead screwdriver under the armor here, and then under the armor when it's up there. Okay? So we'll be back in a second. So we are back, and both pieces are snuggled in as best as I could get them. One side is strapped in very nicely. I'm going to have to show you how to get the string through the loops on this side to tie it in snugly. So bear with me. I need 2 needles for this, and it is a challenge. So we'll be back in a second. So you have 2 ends of one string, and you have 2 needles that are about the same size that will fit through the loophole on the armor. And you want to get that a little moist, and you want to cut off fray edges, but you know it's going to fray anyway. If it doesn't fray, I'd be surprised. But he's going to get a close-up now and show you what I tried to do. Okay. So it's pretty thick. Maybe I can get it in one shot. Now, see? It's starting to fray. So what I want to do is I want to get a few frays in there. I got one. Okay. Let me take it down a little bit. Oh, it came out. Let's get it in there again. Okay, that one's in there. Now what I'm going to try to do is get some of the others in there as well. It's like fray by fray. Let's try that again. First fray, oh, I got 3 in. 3 in. Let me pull on that to get them further in. Now I'm going to try to bend the others in, if I can help it. I think I got a few more. I'm going to take the needle, the other needle, try to push it in. Ooh, it may work. Oops, missed. Trying to be very careful because I don't want to lose what I have in there already. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm missing one fray. Can you see? There's one fray left. Or two. There's two. It's already splitting again. But here we go. Trying to get it. And usually if I can't get it with this end, I'll turn around and try to maybe get it with this end. Let's see. Nope, it's defying. But I want to lose these, that's for sure. So let's keep trying with the needle part. I know this is taking a long time, but I told you it would be challenging. That's being stubborn. Let me see if I can do it. Sometimes if you just pull, it will happen. Ah, look at that. Got it. Now, I have to pull this out so it's a little more manageable to go through the eye of the needle. Got it. Got it. I do not want to lose that one. I have to repeat the same process to the other end, but we won't waste your time. But you got the idea. This helped a little bit. Pulling helped a little bit. Getting the phrase in individually helps a lot. Now we'll pause and I'll get the other one in. So I have them both in. You can see. And I don't want to lose either one of these connections here through the loop of the needle. I do not want to lose them. So what I want to do now, because I know they go through the loops of this figure in terms of the armor, it has to be tightened. I'll put one through a loop and I'll let my husband zoom in on this piece, and so you can see what I'm doing. What I'll do is I'll put one in one side, one in the other side, and just keep doing it until finally everything is all set to go in terms of tightening it up. So here is where the loop is. You can see the loop right here, right? So I'm going to put this one through, and hold on one second. That's the problem with glasses and becoming older in life. It's that sometimes you just cannot see. There it is. That's going to go through. Fine. There it is. I'll do it on the other side, crisscross, do it on each side until all the loops are done. and then I can tighten this side up. So we'll be back. Both of these are now tightened on the sides. We'll probably hide them in the pants or the skirt. Not sure which, but that was a struggle. Let's just put it that way. That is very difficult to do. I think I'll put it in the pants. No, maybe the skirt. Okay. So the next thing is getting the skirt on. And guess what? We have loops with string that's completely out of the loops on this side, which means we're going to have to do the same thing in terms of getting the string situated. So I'm not going to bore you with this one, but I'm going to have to basically, I usually just take the whole thing out and start with 2 needles. Just make sure that the needle fits through the loop. And I'm going to assume everything's the same size. Ha! I shouldn't have assumed that. That is not going to work. So I'm going to have to get 2 smaller hold needles. Yeah, which is going to make it even more difficult to get in. But we will do it. All right, we'll pause. I'll find 2 needles. You pretty much know the drill. It's just getting the string that will fray into the holes of the needles and then thread them through. We are back, and we started with the idea, or I started with the idea of trying to do this figure, or a companion to this figure, I should say. The one thing we didn't have is the horn, and her shoulder armor is a touch different, more silver than this one. She also had a one-piece chainmail outfit, which you can't really find. So on this figure, I started out with mail pants, chainmail, and to kind of complete the look up here, I just cut out what was covered by the leg armor and took those pieces and put them up here to complete the look. So this is a combination of 2 different armor sets from 2 different figures. Saintess Knight, I've got the black skirt, the sheath and sword and belt from that set, as well as with the black version, the black shoulder armor. And then Spartan Army Commander version 2, you have the shield, you have the leg armor, the forearm armor, the chest armor, and I was able to get a couple of hands from that set. If you look at places like Monkey Depot, Toy Anxiety, there are a lot of 1/6 scale loose internet suppliers. I'll list them in the section below, but you can often find pieces like this as well as on eBay. The problem with eBay is unless you can find a US supplier, you'll have to wait forever to get this stuff. But the shield was also from the Spartan Army Commander version 2. So this figure looks good. The last step is picking a head. You've got so many choices when you use a Viking body, which is my first choice when I'm doing a female character, because most of the heads these days, 1/6 scale female heads, come neckless. So this is the best body, I think, to choose. So we could go with a long-haired look, brown hair, auburn, whatever you want to call it. She looks great. You can go with short-haired looks. The redhead. same head sculpt, but in a blonde color. You can't get these heads anymore. They've been long sold out. I hate that when you find some good heads and they just stop making them. We could do a head like this. That might work. This head we could use, but we'd have to make one tiny adjustment. I actually have to push this one on. I knew that would happen. Get that up there. Stay. And don't fall. All right, let's try that again. All right, so if you look at this body, you can see the neck is very, very different. But you can cover it with the right type. Oh, that scared me. With the right type of accessorizing. And a little fur goes a long way. Anyway, I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, have a great day.